Hi, everybody. Welcome to Piercing the Veil.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. Yeah.
Happy Sunday. Welcome in, everybody.
I hope everybody's having a great weekend. I know we did. We got a lot of stuff down outside, great weather.
Oh, I'm so glad the hot weather's gone. Whoop, whoop.
I don't know. Pretty soon you'll be wishing some warmer weather was back.
Oh, I know. We just can't get that happy medium. I see there's a Heidi Pop. Heidi Pop. She had a show yesterday. Everybody check out Heidi Pop's show. See Gemini Moon. We've got Mad Pax. I saw Gary earlier. Cosmic Joe. Welcome in, guys. And am I missing anybody? Who else?
I don't know. I saw those and
Heidi, Gary.
Holly was in already.
Heidi again, Gary again. Oh,
There's
Polly was in here earlier.
There's Lori, your sister.
Hey, my sister Lori and Mary. Hi,
Roger
sisters.
Blair.
There's Roger. There's
Claudette.
Brandon, Claudette. Welcome in, guys.
All right. Everybody's starting to pop in.
Gary.
I brought the chat up on screen so everybody can see everybody as they're watching. So that's cool.
Everybody must love Dwarfy.
Yeah. Speaking of Bigfoot Dwarf, we got him on tonight, and he's made several trips up into the northern west, up in the west coast, and hanging out in the redwoods and doing some investigating and camping and hanging out. So we'll get into all that with him. I'm excited to talk to him again. Our Bigfoot Dwarfs became a really, really good friend and close to us. So it's exciting to have him back on the show.
I think he's everybody's favorite and everybody's chat. Dwarfs all over the place.
He's just one of those people you talk to that's like, man, I've known you forever. It just seems like just one of those people that are fantastic.
As Claudette and Kyle came in.
Yeah. Everybody's starting to pop in and say hi and hanging out. So let's go ahead and bring Dwarf up and we'll get going. What do you think?
Sounds good. I call him Dwarfy.
Dwarfy.
Dwarfy poo. Hey.
Greetings.
Welcome
back.
Thank you. I appreciate the invite and always honored, and I appreciate the kind words as well. You know, there's probably a few tomatoes being thrown from the chat.
Yeah, not to you. Everybody loves you.
I doubt that. Yeah, I doubt that very much.
You get along with everybody.
See, the thing most people don't know is that not only do we invite guests on our show, but usually we end up talking to them during the week and messaging, even when they're not on our show, or we're not even talking about Bigfoot or anything. And I'll talk to you. Usually it's police chases, but, but sometimes it's other stuff. And
the tacos or
street tacos.
But no, that's super cool, and I'd love to keep in touch and see how you guys are doing. And I was like, well, I got the invite, but it was, I was like, darn, it's gonna be next month. But here we are, and I'm excited. Yeah, I can't believe it's been a couple months already since July. So the trip is still fresh in my mind, and so I can't wait to talk about it. And we could get right into it, and we'll cruise on down, the state too. We'll head north, and then we'll maybe bring it back down to SoCal. There's some some interesting things happening out here too. So
you can just probably make a loop on the Bigfoot Highway and come back down.
Bigfoot Highway.
I wish we could come back down the Sierras. But anyway, so earlier in July, we did a trip up to Bluff Creek. For those that aren't familiar, it's where the famous Bigfoot footage was taken in 1967. The Roger Patterson and Bob Giblin film. And so that's Northern California, and it's if you want to be technical, it's Del Norte County, but it's right there, bumped up right next to Humboldt, Siskiyou County, right up in the mix. And Trinity County might be squeezing up in there as well. So a few counties there. But yeah, I guess if you look at a map and everything, I guess the film site is technically in Del Norte County.
Oh,
Yeah, what's interesting about Del Norte, it's like I said, right above Humboldt County. It's where a lot of people maybe have never heard of Del Norte, but if you mention, especially out here in Southern California, you say, "Have you heard of Del Norte or Del Norte County?" And they're like, "No." But you say Pelican Bay, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, yep." And
oh,
yeah, Pelican Bay is are you familiar with Pelican Bay? It's
I've heard of it, but I have not researched it or anything. So I don't know if it's wild and exciting stuff or it's just paranormal.
No.
What is it?
Well, the wild, yes, but it's like our supermax prison up here.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, that's where they send like the bad of the bad boys.
Oh,
You
boy.
want to go there, but it's interesting that you mentioned that out here. People know where that is, but Del Norte is like, oh no. But anyway, yes, that's where the Patterson footage was also taken. But there's another video that's I think it was out in the early, I don't know when they published it, but it's from I think 1995 they said it was, and it's two young boys in the Redwoods in Del Norte County, and they spot a Bigfoot at a distance, and it's walking through, very similar to what you had showed me earlier, girl. But not as good. That one was, yours was better. This one was a little harder to tell, and probably because the quality of the camera at the time. I don't even think, no, we didn't have cell phones then. And so I wonder what kind of camera they were using.
Yeah.
Maybe it was
That is interesting.
2005. Yeah, maybe it was 2005, something like that. But it was quite a while ago, and the footage isn't the best, but I see something there. It looks very similar to Patty, but maybe a little smaller. And so some footage from Del Norte there too that maybe most people don't know about.
See, that's the thing. We talk about Bigfoot and Sasquatch, and we talk about how, say, Patty, had young ones with her or was around, but we don't necessarily ever have footage of the young ones.
Mm-hmm.
Or you talk about people up in Canada and Alaska where they say they grow to 15, 20 feet tall. We never see any footage of these guys either. So it's like we always have the 6 to 8 foot, maybe 9 foot range, whatever they say they are. Yes. But we don't ever have the young little ones or the great big giant ones.
Yeah. And you know what? There have been some things pointed out, and I think MK Davis, a lot of his videos are the ones to go to look for anomalies and stuff like that. And there is what looks like, possibly some other subjects, smaller subjects. I don't know, maybe one, but there's people that claim that there's, way more. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think that, but there is some anomalies, I think, in that footage. But going back to the little ones, I believe it's Doug Hycheck, who pointed out in the Paul Freeman footage. And are you familiar? The Paul Freeman footage is the like almost second best to Patterson Gimlin footage, and it's out of Washington State, up in the Blue Mountains. Actually, some of my buddies had just gone up there recently and did some documentaries there. And Doug pointed out what could possibly be a little one in that footage where the Bigfoot picks up a little one and takes off. So it's possible.
We usually see the pictures or the videos that they're kind of dark, kind of grainy in the forest or the foliage, and they say, okay, I think that's a baby. But you really, your mind kind of says, okay, I think that is a baby. You can kind of see it, but can you really? We haven't really seen a clear image of a little Sasquatch or.
Yep. Well, remember recently there was, I think it was earlier this year, and someone put one out and it had like 2 little ones attached to like the butt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember that? You don't remember that, Chief?
Yeah.
Yeah. Whoa, loud car going by. Yeah, I've heard other people point out also that they'll wear them, the babies, they'll wear them like hats. So on the head, and it'll look like almost like a weird shape to the head. but really it's and it looked like a weird hat or something like that, but it's a little
Hmm.
baby on there. So watch out for those.
Yeah, like
Bigfoot
the
baby
big Russian hats that they wore that was all fur, but they're
Yeah.
little baby Bigfoots.
But yeah, how true. I mean, I could imagine that, but how true it is, I don't know. Again, yeah, we don't have those that good footage, and that's what I try to do. Get out there. I would like to try to get some really really amazing footage, and
Yeah.
there's some stuff. I usually send it out to Garrel and get his eyes on it, and I don't know if he shares stuff with Jane. Hopefully Jane's
Oh
taking
yeah, Jane's
Yeah, that
my,
dark
my
shadow
favorite,
thing.
my favorite so far is your shadow being going across the
Yeah.
road. That came out so clear and so good.
right
Yeah,
on.
the dark shadow was amazing. I mean, you can see, it
Yeah.
didn't even look like anything except, like a dark
Mhm.
shadow moving across the road.
Yeah, and I really we got guests here.
No, Mad Max wants to go Bigfooting with you.
Yeah, no, Mad Packs. I'm telling you, man, Texas is the place. I believe that's where you're at.
Yeah.
I'd like to check out East Texas. There's a big thicket and some areas out there. What is it? Sam Houston National Park? Do you
Yeah.
know it? Is it a national park or anyway? But yeah, there's some spots out in Texas. There's what is it? It's a cow pond or something like that. Cow Lake.
I only hear people talk about Brown Springs.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's for sure. Yeah, I've heard of that. And is there an Oklahoma side to that as well?
I think so.
Yeah,
Right.
it's real close
Yeah.
to Oklahoma. Yeah.
Yeah.
Erie would know on chat. Yeah.
Yeah. And now Texas from out that way too. He goes there a lot. And I actually knew the first person to like put me on to ever like talk and like be online and stuff. He was out of Oklahoma. And he was out of the Brown Springs. That was one of his areas there too, was the Brown Springs. So I've heard a lot about it. And yeah, hopefully one day I'd like to check that out too. And I want to get out there, check out other places.
Right.
But for now, Bluff Creek is our main spot, and that just happened to happen. It wasn't like I was like, oh, I need to get to where Bob Gimlin and Patterson were and make it my area. No, it just so happened to be that I had moved up to Humboldt County, and that's like basically when you talk to people that you mentioned the Patterson footage or anything, they're like, oh yeah, that's in Humboldt. So Humboldt takes the cake. I always mention that, but yeah, so it's just the thing up there. You get up to Humboldt, it's like people is like, oh yeah, redwoods, weed, and that's
Right.
what's going on up here, But
Stone squatches in the area.
but yeah, no, Humboldt has so much more to offer, and it's just amazing up there. We've talked about the dark side of things up there. There is a whole, these documentaries that have came out on Netflix, and there's one also on Hulu. And that one's called Sasquatch, and it just touches on the dark side of the Emerald Triangle, the whole cannabis business and everything, which is a thing. And that whole world has changed too, now with the legalization and all that, that really changed things, I think, up there. And so I wonder because I don't think there's that many people up that way. A lot of people moved. So I'm thinking to myself, during those years, those peak years of when all that would, then they call it the green rush. We had the gold rush back in the day, and yeah, we had the green rush. There has to be, I would imagine, an increase of sightings and stuff, of activity, because there was just so many people out that way. So I'd like to find out, and yeah, I have been, I put the word out wherever I can, if you have any reports, or I ask people sometimes in conversation when I'm up that way, and people, have learned and learned about me, and they're like, all right, yeah, he's kind of one of the local Bigfoot guys here too. So but yeah, no, being up that way, I've also met a lot of cool people, a lot of interesting people that are into the subject, and a lot of them gather usually at Bluff Creek, and so we get together every year, And last year we went up twice, and I believe, yeah, you guys had me on soon
Yeah.
after, so we talked about that. That was really cool. And I think that time I spent, it was about 9 days, and usually before that, so I've been going up for about 8, maybe going on 9 years now or something like that. Maybe skip a year or two here.
How many
Um,
hours does it take you to get up there? Quite a ways, right?
well, when I lived up there, so I was, depending on what part of Humboldt County I was living in, because I'd lived in different parts, but usually, let's say from southern Humboldt, where I was living most of the time, uh, it was like you drive up maybe an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes. You get up the hill, get up to Eureka. That's maybe an hour and 45 minutes, and then from Eureka, you go inland to Willow Creek, and that's another, maybe that's like 35 miles or so. So maybe another half hour, 40 minutes to there. And then from Willow Creek, you got to go past Hoopa. And once you get into Bluff Creek, so that's another maybe like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you got to get up the hill from there. So yeah, you're looking at like maybe 2.5 hours, maybe even from southern Humboldt, and you're already there. Like you're already there when you're in the county, but everything is just, it's a huge county. Everything's so spread out, and it's just a bunch of hills unless you're on Highway 101. And so, but from Southern California, from LA, you're looking at 11 to 12 hours, and that was yeah, and now I'm like, and I'm like, hitting the road, and did make some stops, and got a little rest and stuff. It's not like back in the day I used to drive my 73 Volkswagen up there from out here. That would take like 14 to 16 hours, putting away. Smoke coming out the back muffler there.
I keep sending you VW Bug vans
I love
for
it,
you to
bro.
buy. I thought, man, we can make a little mystery machine out of one of
Yeah,
them.
we could. And see, there's so many projects I want to get going, and yeah,
Little dwarf machine.
I need to get some little bread saved. But yeah, no, I love when you send me those things, and I love those buses, and I know I'll get one again soon. And yeah, we'll flip it into something like that, definitely.
Awesome.
So yeah, so getting up into the redwoods this time around, I was able to get a month off. The plan was to take a month off, and so a buddy of ours, Tate Hieronymus from Florida, he used to be out of California, now he's in Florida, but he drives out from Florida, and his plan was to hit Bluff Creek, then head up to Oregon, Northern Oregon, and then stop by the museum that's up there. So Cliff Brackman, we mentioned him earlier, Bobo, one of Bobo's partners, and he was in Finding Bigfoot and everything. He has a museum up there now, and so the plan was to stop at the museum, hang out, talk to Cliff, do some recording there with Cliff, and then head up to some spot that they had nearby there, and then up to Washington. And that, yeah. But I don't know. Things didn't work out that way. And so, but I ended up spending over 2 weeks in Bluff Creek, which was good. And I think that's what you need, to be able to spend as much time in an area as you can. Because usually it's just a few days, and it's time to get back to the other world.
Hey, I mean, you just never know. I mean, it's just like going on a paranormal investigation. You could show up to a place that's supposed to be haunted, but the activity might not happen if you're only there for a couple hours or say a night.
Yeah.
But like you're saying, if you can spend as much time as possible, chances are your odds increase that, maybe you will experience something, or maybe you won't. It just depends on if it's the right time, right place.
Yeah. And so that's, the idea that hopefully we're going to experience something and or maybe see something, and or record something. And so, yeah, I got the opportunity, things aligned for me, and I was able to hit the road. And yeah, so got to Southern Humboldt, and did a quick stop at a sighting location. So we've been checking out the Bigfoot mapping project their database, and then also the BFRO during our lives and stuff like that. And so there was a recent one, a fresh one, out of Southern Humboldt right there. And what was interesting is that area where this report was coming out of, which was Benbow. Little, it's not, I wouldn't even call it a town. Benbow is just like they have a historic hotel there. There's this building kind of, there's a golf course, there's a KOA there, and that's about it. You know, it's not much. There's no post. I don't think they even have a post office there or anything, but that's Benbow. And that's where the report was out of, a little south of Benbow. And Benbow, it's interesting that it's an old worlder. I had shared it recently. I was looking at a picture that I had from there, and I was like, oh yeah, I knew there was we knew it was haunted. So it's known to be haunted and stuff. And we've spent some time there. Anytime you had a little bit of extra money and you could get off the hill and spend some time, and you know, maybe want to take your queen out to something special, you go to Bembo. And and one time, we became good friends with the bartender there and everything at the time, and he took us down into the boiler room and everything, and it was a trip. You could vibes, yeah, definitely some vibes there. And we've had some weird stuff happen there at the Bembo. But anyway, this Bigfoot report was right under the Bembo there. And right in that area, there's this gift shop. It's called The Legend of Bigfoot. And I see it, you know, they use the picture, like the front of the gift shop quite a bit online. I see it on the internet quite a bit. And so that gift shop is super cool. They have redwood cutouts, all types of, you know, chimes and cool stuff. And there's giant garden gnomes. Yeah.
Oh, I want one.
Big dwarfs. and all types of cool stuff. So it's really a tourist trap right there, right? And but this place has gotten reports, and there is where they actually hold one of these big reggae. I think it's the biggest reggae festival in the country. It might.
Wow.
Yeah, it's 3 days called Reggae on the River. It's super fun. I used to
Reggae on the River.
Yeah, I used to go to that all the time. And I've gotten, and I think we've talked about this, a real reliable source from up that way had told me about a report actually during one of the Reggae on the Rivers, because you're camped out in different areas throughout that area there.
Oh wow.
And sometimes you know, depending on where you camp, you might be way out from the venue and stuff, but people, you know, get bussed in or whatever.
Right.
Some years I think you could even rent bikes and stuff like that. And but anyway, there was these girls, I guess these ladies were in a particular campground, and I don't know if it was nighttime or not, but this source told me that they had a pretty close full-on Bigfoot sighting, and the person that had the sighting, the lady, was able to tell that it was a male because she focused on its thing.
Oh yeah, right.
Whoa, yeah. This is a male Bigfoot. And that's how that story goes. But that's from that area there. And actually, there was a Rasta Jamaican brethren from Jamaica, a friend of mine, and actually I got him on video, and I'm talking to him in Patois, which is like the Jamaican the way they speak, and so he's telling me about his encounter that he was driving up from LA. It was way late night coming into Humboldt County, right around that area there. And I hadn't told this guy anything about anything. We were just talking about, I just happened to mention Bigfoot. And he starts telling me this sighting, and it's right around the gift shop there, he mentions, and that this thing went across the road there. And online, you could also find there's several other reports. And so I'm like, wow. And over the years, I've just been like, whoa, there's something about this gift store. I'm like, is it the people from the gift store like dressing up and like,
right,
it is to bring like people and attention to the gift store there. But another interesting thing that happened right around that gift store was several years back, there was 2 little girls that had went missing from their property around there. And I think they went missing overnight. and I don't remember how long it was, but we've reported on this stuff during the live streams once again. Uh, they were found luckily alive, and they were very near that gift store, and they were found, and they said that they were drinking water from the leaves because it had rained a little bit,
Mm.
and which I thought was interesting, going missing and the weather, and
Right.
they were found eating I believe it was huckleberries too.
Ah,
Yeah, so that's kind of what kind of kept them going, I guess, and luckily they were found safe, but that happened right around there too. I'm not saying that's a Bigfoot related or fairies or anything, but just made me wonder. What's up?
there's also stories of people or children missing, but they're taken care of by Bigfoot or a big hairy thing that they can't really describe or know what it is. That keeps them safe until they can get them somewhere and drop them off where they know they would be found.
Hmm.
So I like those reports too. Those are interesting.
Yeah, super super trippy, and yeah, there's a well-known one that was a few years back where the little boy claimed that it was a bear
Mm-hmm.
and that was
Yes.
taking care of him. And I don't know if they gave him berries also at that time. I
I
gotta
think
go
it was
back,
berries. Yeah, kept
right?
them
I think
warm.
there's some
Mm-hmm.
sort of mention about that. But I brought that up, and it's interesting. I brought that up with I was talking to you about Nikki Cologne earlier. Shout out Nikki. We're talking about this Bigfoot videos because girl had showed me a really good one that I hadn't seen yet, so that has me stumbling on my words here. um,
Someone wants to know if that's close to Lost River. You know where Lost River is?
no, not Lost River, but it's near the Lost Coast. If you know
Lost
that,
Coast?
yeah, and
Oh,
the
okay.
the Lost
Maybe
Coast.
maybe that's what Unreal's talking about.
Yeah, that's possible. That makes sense. And so yeah, Nikki Cologne is really good at finding out about videos and the backstory on them and stuff. And I'm kind of forgetting why I'm mentioning her. There was a reason. Anyway, but yeah, bring me back, girl.
I don't know where we were going.
Yeah, I don't know. I got
Well,
caught
we
up
talked about the kid with the bear. 'Cause
yeah,
were
there we
talking
go.
about-
I got caught up with the Lost Coast. Anyway, so yeah, the kid with the bear. So I had brought that up on one of her shows. So she had me on one of her shows, and there's a good friend of hers, and someone we know here very well in the Bigfoot community, and I actually got to meet him. Goes by the tall ones, Brent Dill, and Brent Dill had mentioned. I remember in that chat that supposedly that bear story was. I think he said something like it was really just a man named Bear that had taken care of the kid or something like that. Which I was
Wow.
like, I didn't hear that, but maybe there's something
Bear
to
man.
that. I'm not sure.
I always heard that it was really furry, and so
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. So anyway, but yeah, no, I'd like to find out. We were talking about getting into backstories of like videos, pictures, and stuff, and I like to get into the backstories of these cases, of the strange of these missing cases, these cryptid cases, and we were getting into that backstage. Yeah, I think it's important to find out as many details as we could, and I know a lot of times it's tough trying to get information on stuff like that. And are you familiar with Eric from Media Palace? He's been doing the what is that, the FOIAs on police, Bigfoot police reports and stuff like that.
No,
Bigfoot
I
police.
think I've heard
Yeah.
of Media Palace, but I don't.
Yeah, he's been on with Jessica recently, and I forget.
Oh, okay.
I think
Yeah.
Doug Hychick recently, and yeah, you should get him on here. We could get him on here for you, I think.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, and so he's been doing the FOIAs, so get more information on some cases and stuff like that, and that's pretty cool. But yeah, no, there's just a lot that's withheld from us. I think that
Right.
fortunately we don't get to hear or get to know, and I
Yeah,
wish
because
we could.
we talked about all these videos that are starting to pop up, but just think of how many videos or grainy things that people don't really know what they're seeing or don't want to talk about it because they don't want the publicity or people calling them crazy. So imagine all the videos or pictures that are out there but they just don't come forward with it. Those are the ones. Those are the people I want to talk to. I want to talk to everyday normal Joe out there hiking, and he has a picture of something that could be a very good picture, but we just don't ever get to see it.
Yep.
I want to know those stories.
Yeah. No, and they're out there, and they're out there. And they say even we were talking about the Patterson footage. They say there's more to that footage, which I believe there's more to it, but they just don't know who has it. It's out there somewhere,
Smithsonian.
Yeah, or Mr. Smith up in the Redwoods or something, but yeah, no, it makes you wonder where it could be, and
Right.
yeah, that could be a game changer there for a lot of people. But so let's see. So I made that pit stop in Southern Humboldt, checked out the area, more or less the area that I felt, and salute to Roger there, Squatch and Holler recently.
Yeah, Roger.
Yay. Hi, Roger.
Big guy. I'm sure. Have you had Roger on?
No.
Yeah. I think, yeah, Roger, what's up? And so, so let's see. We made the little pit stop, checked out the area that I felt was more or less the area of the report, and checked it out. And I was totally familiar with that area. And so it didn't surprise me. They did say it was supposedly a 12-footer, which I was like, whoa. But,
Wow.
in Humboldt, everything grows big out there. You got the Humboldt giant squid, you got the giant redwoods and other giant trees. And so it wouldn't surprise me. But so yeah, a little bit north of Bembo, it's like maybe 12 miles or so or something like that, is the town of Garberville. And Garberville was booming back in the day, super tiny. And next to Garberville is Redway, and up the hill from there is where we used to stay. So back in those hills is Alder Point and Island Mountain and these other areas that, if you watch these documentaries that I was telling you about, you'd be like, whoa, okay, that's where that is. Yeah, that's where we were, and that's where I had my first sighting. That's where the property was, where these orbs would come up. We've talked about this several times.
Right.
And strange activity, and where I had the sighting of what I feel was a Bigfoot, because it was just this head sticking out the bottom of the base of an oak tree. And so that's just right up the hill from there. So from Garberville up the hill was maybe like 45 minutes or so, maybe 40 minutes. And so that little area we're just getting into, where the souvenir store and all that is just down the hill from there. It's not far at all. So I found that pretty interesting as well. So anyway,
I think it's interesting. Even before the show started, we talked about blue orbs. What is the thing with Sasquatch and blue orbs
and orange?
Well, yeah, I've heard the orange as well.
Yeah, the two that I saw visually without night vision, they were both orange.
Interesting. Yeah, the typical ones that I would see on the land there were like this white, blue, basically like a star.
Wow.
And then there was several, I want to say 2 occasions for sure that these orbs or whatever, one time it looked just like a mass. I thought there was a fire starting outside on the land, like way down. It looked like a fire.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was like 3 a.m, and I was about to start panicking, but I'm like, what the hell? And even like, so it was this mass, which I thought was flames or something. But then there was these like little, I'll describe them as like sprites, a bunch of little small orbs around this stuff in this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was moving. I got this on video. It's just a short video, but I got it on video, and I still got to send Roger, and I could, pull these videos up and send them to you, Garrel.
All right.
They're buried in the channels somewhere. But yeah, it was strange. It was the orange color, and that happened a couple of times. But yeah, for the most part, they would be the blue, and then those would change. They could change into any color, it seemed like, because they would change the multicolors, which I call like the flower power and super
right.
The psychedelic colors going and everything. And even when you look at regular stars, you kind of see that sometimes they look like a bunch of colors changing and stuff. That's what they looked at, but they were at ground level. And I've like I mentioned, I've seen these things take off from ground level into the sky and vice versa. From the sky, I've seen them drop into like the woods and stuff like that.
Wow.
I've seen them float through trees, and yeah, it was just weird, bizarre stuff. But yeah, so this is the Redwoods. So southern Humboldt, and then heading north through the county, there's a detour along Highway 101. And it's interesting because Highway 101, if you keep going, I mean, I haven't been, but when I look at reports online and stuff, all the way up through, I think even up into British Columbia, because it keeps going up that way, there's a lot of reports of Bigfoots along Highway 101. So all the way even down to this area that I'm talking about, on down to Mendocino County, which is under Humboldt. So something about that 101.
Right.
And so parallel to 101, heading north or south, whatever, but there's what they call the Avenue of the Giants, and it's a detour through the Redwoods.
Avenue of the Giants.
Yes. And I'm sure they call it because of the trees and the Bigfoots in their area. But yeah, so you could either take 101, or you could take this detour through the Avenue of the Giants and enjoy the Redwoods. You could stop. There's pullouts, and people, take pictures and all that. And there's souvenir stores through there, and a little burger shack along the way. And you can get the Bigfoot burger there.
I was just going to ask, Bigfoot burgers.
And so that became one of my main areas, was because I was, always zipping up and down 101. I would take the detour and hang out in the Redwoods and see, and in there I started finding structures, and before that on the land, I started looking for structures and stuff like that, and had found some few small things that, could have been done by previous people living there or whatever. But that got me going. And then I started looking. So through the Avenue of the Giants, those are the Humboldt Redwood State Parks.
Okay.
State parks all through there. And so it's just, there's a history of reports going on that's just north of Benbow and all that. And so if you look online, you can find reports there, BFRO and all that, all through there. And then, it's just a well-known area. Anyway,
I think that's the same area in the Redwoods where people talk about elders come out, with the staff, and almost not quite a Gandalf looking person, but some kind of mystical person comes out and they bestow some wisdom on them, or they might gift them a branch or a tree limb, almost like a staff. Have you ever heard those stories?
That's the homie Jimmy. He's a local, man. That's what that is.
He's a wild man, huh?
He sounds
wild
like
man.
That's a total. You just described the total Humboldt local there.
They all look like you, girl.
Yeah, they all look like girl. I've mentioned you two seem like, I thought you guys were from up that way, but no, everyone looks like wizards and like they live in redwoods and stuff up there. No, I haven't heard of that. But there is, I think there is something very mystical about the redwoods. A lot of the guys, usually for Bigfoot, we go up into Bluff Creek, and there's a bunch of other areas maybe that, maybe I'm not aware of people going to, but of course Bluff Creek is like the main one, right?
Right.
So like the redwoods sometimes will kind of get skipped. I don't know. We haven't done too many camp outs there. So for me, that was just my main area because I was living there and always, and so I started finding structures in some of these areas that had historical reports and stuff like that. And of course I questioned it. Could it be people that just know about this stuff and maybe, building some of this stuff?
Right.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Let's get back to Bluff Creek for a second. Mm-hmm. We always see the film, and what happened there. Do you think that is Patty's or that clan's home territory, or do you think they were just passing through?
Yeah, I in my mind, I think all those hills are theirs. Like even on into Oregon, so they could be in that Bluff Creek area, and they could go on over to Mount Shasta. Because that's not far at all. And that's something to keep in mind too with Bluff Creek, is that it's, as the bat squatch flies, it's really not too far. And then up, I guess if you head north, then you got like, Crater Lake would be another one, which isn't
Right.
too far. But yeah, then you have let's see, the Redwoods to one side. So it's something about that whole area there. And I think, yeah, if they needed to go to I think they go to the coast and then they come inland to that area, the Bluff Creek area and all that. And then and maybe head on over to Shasta or head north to Oregon if need be. But yeah, no, it's just so vast, so many hills around there. And I think like, yeah, you could just stay in one hill too if you needed, and not leave that hill, and be good too,
Yeah, I mean, as big as they are, I mean, and as muscular as they are, I mean, what seems they're muscular and pretty fit or active, just like all wild animals and stuff are. I would think they'd have a pretty big range. I mean, if they're 8-9 feet tall or whatever, they obviously be able to hike through the forest a lot faster and a lot longer than we could, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're totally, and it's so like, yeah, it's just so much space up there that you can do it. Like a creature or a being that big could get away with being out there and not being seen at all, for sure. You could easily get lost. And I'm just talking in that Bluff Creek area. That's what I have in mind. Yeah, it's just so much space out there. It's amazing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, so getting up, passing the Redwoods, I didn't spend too much time in the Redwoods and got myself up into the Bluff Creek area as quick as possible. So now I take the Go Road. So there's these several roads to get up the hill there. And I used to take the first road that was nearest to me coming up from Willow Creek. I would take that road up the hill for years. And just because it was the closest road to me, I didn't want to go any further north. I just wanted to get up that hill quick. But there's the Go Road that they talk about, and we talked about it because last year Alex Petikoff had done a documentary on it. It's called the Go Road, and that Go Road, it was an incomplete road that was supposed to be a road for loggers to just get up in there and log the crap out of it. And it was a sacred area to a lot of the, to the Hoopas and to the Yuroks, Karuks there. So they stopped it. They fought it for years, had that stopped, and there's like I think it's like 5 miles of the road that wasn't built there. And so last year we hiked it and did an overnight up that way. But the Go Road is known for activity. Bobo talked about his sighting on that documentary. Our buddy Todd Samples, that's where he found the snow tracks. What was it, 2 or 3 years ago? During, I think it was the early part of the year. Obviously, there was snow there, and these amazing footprints were just deep in the snow, pretty fresh, and it just, to me, they're legit. And it was good to see that coming out of Bluff Creek, because everyone's always like, oh, what's expecting to have the next Patterson footage come out of there, but it doesn't happen that way. It's not that easy. And
is that the road that people refer to as Bigfoot Highway?
Oh, so no, so you could call it that too, but no, actually the Bigfoot Highway is Highway 96, which it could take you from Willow Creek all the way up to, I believe it'll take you up into Oregon.
Okay.
And so that Highway 96, they call the Bigfoot Highway, the Bigfoot Scenic Byway or Highway, I think it is. And there's actual road signs for this, and it's pretty cool. And that's another road also that were a lot of sighting reports, because along that road is the Klamath River.
Oh, okay.
And that's, you want to talk some salmon and some steelhead, and the Klamath. And so, everything's going to be, all the wildlife, everything's going to be getting up on some of that fish and cooling off there during the summer and all that. And so the Klamath, there's been some recent news. I think, they've been tearing down a lot of dams and stuff like that,
Right.
right? And so the Klamath was one of them. Actually, they opened up the dam, and so there was this whole thing with that area. And my buddy Jonathan Easley, Western Bigfoot Exploration, I think he's going to be putting some of this in his documentary, or he did a documentary. I think it was about the fish. I think they call it the fish wars. There's the whole thing with the fish up there, because the fish are very important to the people and of course the wildlife there. And so now with the dams being open, I think that's going to really change the whole fish game there. I think it should be a good thing for the fish now. And just all the tribes, all the different tribes that are along the Klamath, going all up into Oregon. And yeah, it's very interesting to see that happen. And I would imagine there's some maybe people are maybe happy about that. So anyway, so yeah, the Klamath, very, very well known in Bigfoot history. There's a lot of, like I said, reports along that way. And so yeah, again, so Bluff Creek, and speaking of fish, in the 64 flood was blown out. So that's why when you see Patty walking across that river bar, all
Right.
that was blown out from this flood. And that flood actually took out a lot of small towns in Humboldt County. They had a helicopter in supplies and stuff. And even to this day, on a lot of parts of the highway, like Highway 101 or along Avenue of the Giants and different areas, they have these markers that the Caltrans, the freeway people put, and they have a reflector on it, and they're high up, and you could see, and that's the marker of where the water was during the 64 flood.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's just like, whoa, you look at that and you can't imagine like water just, flowing through there like that.
Yeah.
And so they say due to that, that the salmon weren't able to get back up into the Bluff Creek area.
Okay.
Through that specific creek, because it just changed the whole structure of, I guess, how things were for them to be able to get up in there. And so people question, well, if there's no salmon, then maybe there's no Bigfoot in that area anymore, But there's tons of bear. We've been seeing a whole lot of wildlife, a lot of deer. There's elk in the area.
Right.
Yeah, there's everything. And yeah, Bluff Creek doesn't have the salmon run anymore, but there is other creeks nearby that do. So, I think they could still get their fish. If
I always wondered that about the video of Bluff Creek, the Patterson Gimlin film, is that rock bed that you see right there, it looks like it should be alongside of a river or a bigger stream than what you'd consider a creek.
Yeah.
So is that from the blowout, you think? All that rock pile all the way that you see in that whole video?
That's what they say. Yeah, all the logs and stuff like that. And then you could see there's stumps there too. So obviously they were logging as well. So yeah, but I believe that's what I've been told. And that's what it looks like. Yeah, like something just blew through there, and there's like logs and debris all over the place. And so, yeah, but I think, no, there's plenty of food up there, and man, there's a variety of berries, which I think, yeah, I think the food sources is something, there's something to Bigfoot and food sources.
Right.
Even if you believe that they're interdimensional and all that, like, I don't know, it seems like they like to drop a load here every once in a while, and they like to eat certain foods and will dumpster dive, and who knows why they're doing that, but I don't know, they like to grub on things, they get the munchies.
Right. I think a lot of the reports here in Illinois anyway seems like it's on the river or close to the water source and the tributaries, the back marshes and stuff. I mean, a lot of people don't think of Illinois having all this water, but we really do. We have all these lakes and ponds and tributaries, and we even have bogs and marshes. So it's really, really good areas. And it seems like the reports are always around those areas. So whether they're fishing or maybe, obviously, like you said, other wildlife come to that pond or to that water source also. So it's probably good hunting grounds that way also.
Yeah, and you guys have been getting more reports. We've been talking. I think we've mentioned that, and I've been seeing a lot more coming out of Illinois,
Mm-hmm.
and I think some of them are very close to where you're at now, right?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's tons of them here in central. We're almost northern, not quite. We're kind of that borderline in between.
Central and northern.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
All right.
it seems like there is a lot more reports all on the Illinois River for Bigfoot and the areas surrounding. But
Yeah, we're only a mile from the Illinois River.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the souvenir store that was telling you about that whole area in southern Humboldt, that the Eel River is right there.
Mm-hmm.
So you have your
And
river.
all these fields usually have trees, not big forests, but they're lined with trees all over. Well, a lot of humans don't go to those tree lines and stuff, and that's where a lot of the wildlife is, and
Mm,
also Sasquatch.
yeah. Yeah.
Farmers don't go out and wander their fields.
not anymore.
Yeah.
Another, if you want to talk water, another interesting thing I had ran into. So go ripping up and down 101 there, and going through the redwoods and stuff like that. Once you get further north into the county, the further north you get to the county, the more you start getting closer to the coast. So once you start hitting, like, let's say, a little under Eureka, California, you start, and you're on 101, you start to see there's some marshlands there too, some wildlife sanctuaries, and then you start seeing the water. There's some beaches along that way, and then you could have beach access and all that. I started going to some of these beaches and some of the more way out areas away from like the smaller towns there, but I started finding stick structures made of driftwood and stuff.
Oh,
And yeah, so I was like, whoa, this is interesting. This looks like some of the stuff that we find in the woods, and it's out here in the beach. And so I was thinking, well, could it be, again, people
Mm-hmm.
making these things and hanging out? Because sometimes there was times where you'd find certain little human things behind. Sometimes you'd find some beer bottles, like some people were chilling.
right.
And sure, people hang out in them, because I eventually hung out in one, and yeah, they're cool to hang out in if you could fit. Some of them were big, some of them were small. And then some things were just weird glyphy things like you find in the woods, and very similar. So I'm thinking, like, whoever's making the stuff in the woods is probably the same people or persons making this stuff on the beach.
Right.
And sure enough, up that way, I started looking into reports, and there's reports along these beaches too. And so I'm like, whoa. And then I started seeing other people eventually showing like some structures along beaches and stuff like that too. And I was like, whoa, that's interesting. Okay. And so again, water source.
Mm-hmm.
And then those beaches, big food source there. I mean, yeah, you want to talk about some eats. There's been reports of them coming out of the waters there with like kelp strapped on their shoulders and stuff like that.
Wow.
I found piles of clamshells. I remember I was mentioning this on Roger's show. There's been some pretty big clamshell piles I've found before, and I've heard that they do that. They'll sit there, eat clams, and leave a pile of them. And so yeah, it makes you wonder. My second sighting did happen one of these exiting one of these beach towns. So we've talked about that one. I was headed southbound. Here we go, 101 again, leaving the town of Trinidad, and I seen this tall, lanky figure from across the highway walk across. But the weird thing, I didn't see him go all the way across, and there was cars coming, and I was expecting like a big old accident to happen, and I didn't see anything happen. No one honked or anything. And where I'm expecting to see this subject, and like again, it was just dark,
Right.
tall, lanky. I'm expecting to see this person or whatever right here on the right side of me, and nobody's there by the time I cross, and it's just a pretty steep ravine of redwoods, and at the bottom are the Trinidad beaches down there. And I actually used to live in Trinidad, actually West Haven, which is right next to Trinidad also. And yeah, there's been reports out of there. Also, I wanted to say my roommate that time when I was living in West Haven, I had told him about all this. He knew I was all into this stuff, and he has a pit, like a big old. It's a, I think, an English or American bulldog. It's a big dog, and so he would walk his dog around the neighborhood there, and there's a church. There was a church across the street from the house. And one morning he comes in, he's like, "Hey, bro, you know what? There's a weird teepee structure right behind the church here." And I was like,
Oh,
"What? No way, dude." He's like, "Yeah, bro, go check it out." And yeah, I went and took a walk. I got video of it too. That's on the channel.
they're just going to church.
It was weird, and like no one really even attended that church. I never really seen people at that church, but yeah, right behind the church was a teepee structure, pretty big too.
Wow.
And I thought that was just interesting. I'm like, oh man, like are they listening to us, like our conversations, or what's going on here? And that was a super cool house. That one had like redwoods in the backyard. It's just an epic place. I mean, you want to go to the beach, you just go, drive not too far. The beach was right there, and but yeah, a lot of activity around there. Even when you go north of there, the town of Oric is well known. And actually, this time around, when I went up that way, I actually came out through Oric, because through Oric, you could go through what's called Bald Hills, and that'll get you into the Bluff Creek area. And I was like, oh,
Oh,
wow, okay. Because usually I would go from the small town of Arcata, which is a super cool town. Lived there before too. From Arcata, you go in 299 through Willow Creek, which is always cool too, because Willow Creek you could stock up on supplies, and if your stars are aligned, you could stop and check out Eric over at the Bigfoot Willow Creek Museum.
okay.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
that's always like a fun stop before you get into Bluff Creek. Stop at the museum, touch base, see what's going on, any new reports or anything, and you could always talk to Eric. And actually, Eric. And I don't know if I mentioned him during the live, but backstage, Todd Samples. Yeah, we did mention Todd. He
Yeah.
found the Go Road tracks in the snow. They just released, and I shared it in my post, documentary. It's called Willow Creek, a short Bigfoot documentary. I think it's called something like that. So y'all check that out. They're getting a lot of views on that. They just dropped it like a day or two ago, and they're up in like 24,000, I think I seen last, or something like that. So they're starting to get some views. They need some thumbs up over there. So check it out, folks. Yeah, they I'm sure they would appreciate that support. But it's super cool documentary. And yeah, good source there, Eric at the museum. So anyway, so Bald Hills, going in through Bald Hills or coming out through Bald Hills, it was interesting because I had gone through there, and as soon as I got service, I turned on an episode of Sasquatch Chronicles, and the episode that I picked was someone from Hoopa talking about their experience up in Bald Hills.
Oh, wow.
Oh my goodness, this is perfect, But anyway, yeah. So this time around, I was ready to spend quite a bit of time in Bluff Creek, ready to go. I had my gadgets ready, so I thought. And I get up there, boom, set up. And the first night I get there, Tate Hieronymus, our buddy from Florida, and no relation to Bob Hieronymus, who was supposedly the guy in the Patty suit.
Oh, right. Right.
You guys, that's kind of like a big joke within us, because who else has that last name? Any other Hieronymuses out there? Please stand up. Yeah, so he got there ahead of time and had already spent I think it was a night or two at Bluff Creek. So big props. It's believe me, it's creepy if you stay on your own out there or anywhere in the sticks like that, right? But some of us like to do it. But he had an episode of sleep paralysis, and I was like, whoa, that's interesting. But again, he's not, into what we call the strange. I'm not going to say that W word.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he's not into the really weird stuff, but weird stuff has happened to him. He's had orbs. He's seen orbs before, looking for Bigfoot. So I know he's seen some stuff. But yeah, he for me, it was like, whoa, sleep paralysis. I'm thinking, what is it, succubus? The they talk about Hat Man, the Hag Lady,
Right.
these different entities and stuff. So some sort of spiritual thing there, although science may be able to explain it. So yeah, I thought that was very
So,
interesting. Like,
so is
whoa,
he just in denial? He doesn't want to
I guess I
talk about it or bring it forward, or
don't tell him denial, but but yeah, no, he knows it happened, but I mean, we
not
don't
putting
know.
any energy in it.
Yeah, there you go. And also we don't know if there's any connection to that and Bigfoot anyway. But I thought that was I was like, all right, this is a good start to things, and maybe not for Tate, but
Yeah.
and so yeah, the first night I set up my little game camera, I put it on the bumper of my car, had that going, and yeah, I had a new thermal gadget I was excited to play with, and yeah, I just started just doing what we do. Did a little recording that night, and then following days, more people started to come in. We had people come in from Washington State. I mentioned the tall ones. We also had a veteran, a researcher, investigator, Thomas Steenberg from British Columbia. So that was,
Mm.
super cool to be in the presence of an old school Bigfooter like that. And who else? We had Salish Sasquatch from Washington State.
Oh,
They've been pumping out some really cool, documentary style videos with evidence. They have activity on their property. They're on a reservation, and so if you check out their channel, a lot of good stuff. They just put out a 5-hour marathon, and I shared that in my post, so you could find that, and just some amazing stuff on there. So definitely check that out if you can. They were there. Several other people. Jonathan. I mean, I could go on. A list of names is pretty studded as it usually is. But and so yeah, we started doing our thing. On one particular evening, we noticed, and it was a lady who noticed first. She mentioned actually, but we were at the campground and the sun was starting to go down a bit behind us. So there's Bluff Creek going by there, and you're kind of in a bowl. So this campground is called Louse Camp, and it's well known in history, Bigfoot history, and all that. And Bluff Creek flows through there, and across the creek, we noticed like this weird flashing light, like almost like if the trees had like reflectors stuck to them, red reflectors.
Mm.
oh,
Something flashed light at it, and it reflected, and it was weird, and it did that a few times, and I was like, and then I heard her mention, did anyone else see that? There's something to that effect. And I'm like, yep, I seen that. And she's like, yeah, it's like a weird flashing red light. I was like, yeah, I seen that. And I was looking around to see if maybe someone was like backing up and hitting brake lights,
oh,
or
right, right.
Mhm.
something like that. Nothing like that. It wasn't that. And soon after that, I would say within the same like maybe minute or so, it seemed like uh down the creek, and you can't see, but you could hear the creek is raging. Down to one side of the creek, Tate again noticed this really bright flashlight, and it looked like, to me, it looked like almost like if a car with flash headlights was on and coming our, like, down the creek and coming our way, which would be impossible to do.
Right.
And I was just like, whoa, what the heck? And but Tate felt like maybe later on when I spoke to him, thought it was maybe moonlight, but I was like, dude, that was
Mm.
not moonlight. And so that was pretty odd. So we had the red lights and then this weird bright light that night. And fast forward, I had gone through my game cam footage when I got back here. I looked at the date, and on that night that I set up the camera, actually, it was along those days, those nights there, early in the trip, I noticed this weird light in the background, and it was in the woods, and it also looked, and it was fortunately, I was going to say unfortunately, but fortunately, it was captured because the camera's set up to record for a minute when it's triggered, and it captured it in the last few seconds of those
Oh,
1 minute recording. So, I'm sure there probably would have been more to it, but it just captured what it did. And so I usually scrub my videos to try to see if there's any motion or movement or anything that I could spot. And then in this footage, it looks like uh car lights like lighten up the woods. And
Wow.
what's interesting is that there is a road that'll get you down to the camp to there, but the way the camera was pointed, I don't think it was pointed at that and in that direction. And it was more than two lights, so it was multiple lights, and this stuff started getting really bright, and they're like little balls, they like orbs. It is what it looks like. And I thought that was really odd. And what else happened there? There was this also, you guys have pointed out those little like bar type anomalies that fly
yeah,
by.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
skyfish or rods.
Rods,
Yeah,
skyfish.
the
Yeah.
rod or whatever. Well, no, well, this one wasn't the sky. It didn't have the skyfish wings, but it was just like a rod.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Like a big cigar.
Yep.
Yeah, we call those the rods, and the bumpy things we call skyfish.
Yeah, and what's interesting because back in the day we used to call rods these other objects that are similar to the fast movers that we see darting near planes and stuff like that.
Yes.
They used to call those rods too, but I think the rods, those bars, makes more sense to have it called a rod instead of those other weird little flying things. But yeah, so it got one of those rods, and I'm not sure, I think those are pretty weird. And yeah, we noticed skyfish and on another night, and it was weird because there are bats. There's a bunch of bats, and so those, bats, they kind of move all batty, and
Right.
You can see the wings flutter on a bat. Yeah.
but we were seeing this other thing, and I'm like, what are these night birds? And so I think they are night jars or night hawks.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, which are little birds. So I think I got a couple of those on thermal, but my buddy Jonathan, we were noticing something else kept darting around. I think it's the skyfish. And we were able to kind of see it with our eyes, but not fully. We just noticed that they were like darting by. But then when I used the psionics, I was able to see that, it looked like the skyfish.
Yes.
Do you have any flying squirrels? Because they fly around at night.
Yeah.
There could be flying squirrels. Yeah, because they only fly around at night, and it freaks people out.
Yeah. The flying squirrels I heard in the redwoods, but I'm not sure about in the Bluff in Six Rivers National Forest. But yeah, I did look into the night jars, which I thought was pretty cool too.
Do you guys have any instances where you think it might be the orbs or maybe even a UFO alien connection to any of this?
Well, trip out on this. There are reports of UFOs also. And I spoke to someone who lives in the area. Very few people live in that area. There are people, but they're not up on the hill. They're more towards the bottom of the hill. And I spoke to a local, and they told me they're a non-believer, but the property owner of where she lives has had sightings, Bigfoot sightings, and I was like, whoa. And UFO, she mentioned UFO sightings too.
Oh,
She didn't say if the two were connected or anything.
right.
So, but I was just like, oh, that's interesting. And also, yeah, there was one particular day that I noticed what looked like a little flying ember. It looked like a little orange, like an orange orb or red. And it was just darting through the sky through the top of the trees. And I just didn't have time to record it or anything. And of course I mentioned it there was a big group of people there. I mentioned it, and everyone's just like, kind of like, whatever. Like, I was just like, hold on, this could be something here. This is big. I don't know. I feel like you got to pay attention definitely to the skies, to other anomalies when you're out there. And
I was just going to say, because, we have stories from Jessica where little grays are dropped off by orbs. We hear other people talk about Sasquatch possibly transported by orbs.
Right.
We have a connection between aliens and Bigfoot taking rides and being transported to different places. And even some people say it might be even like a collaboration or maybe even a
Right.
control thing. So I don't know. It's just interesting hearing these stories.
It's
Yeah.
all connected.
Yeah, no, and it comes up, and that's the thing that I found fascinating, because it's like for the most part, like most of the guys, like I said, we keep it. I'm open to everything, but a lot of them are strictly Bigfoot, but they won't like. Maybe they do consider the strange stuff, but yeah, for the most part, it's just focused on the Bigfoot. So, but me, I'm looking up, I'm looking for other weird stuff, and if I spot it, then I'm gonna mention it. And so for them to the locals to be mentioning the UFOs, and it happened to me in Happy Camp, which is not too far, also a little.
Happy camp. I can
Yeah,
imagine what they're doing there.
Watch out at Happy Camp.
I want to go to happy camp.
A lot of reports from there, but yeah, I've heard also that they see UFOs. So it's like you gotta put that somewhere in your notes,
Right.
And so another interesting thing about Louse Camp, which is one of the, like, there's several spots when you're in the Bluff Creek area. There's many spots you can choose to camp at, and but for the most part we gather at Louse Camp, and it's kind of set in like a weird bowl situation, and there's trees all around you. There's a creek which makes a lot of wonderful moving water audio.
Ambient noise.
Yes,
Mhm.
but what happens is that you also get what the guys were mentioning as audio pareidolia. So you'll hear voices. Yeah, you start to hear voices and stuff. And so it's hard to tell if it's the water or you're really hearing something. And it's really common. It was happening a lot on this trip too. So every once in a while, like the lady who mentioned about the red light, she's like, "Hey, did you just hear that? I'm hearing," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm hearing stuff
Mhm.
too." So it's kind of tough sometimes. But yeah, no, people have heard stuff from there. There's also been someone's, I won't mention the name, but their parents, they brought their parents out, and they witnessed, with along with another a lady that attends these gatherings up there, uh a Native American woman, an apparition of a Native American woman
Mm.
at Louse Camp. Yeah, which I thought was pretty weird too. So and there's others that mention that Louse Camp is haunted, and
Wow.
yeah, who knows? But yeah, a lot of weird stuff has happened there. There's again, Bobo has had sightings at Laos, and so yeah, it's an interesting spot. But I've been there many times. I was anxious to get to know other places too. But so on this particular night, so we're like halfway into the trip, and I took several day hikes. Actually, I put together about an hour-long video that I recently released,
Mhm.
and unfortunately it uploaded at very low quality, but it is what it is.
Right.
But yeah, we did quite a bit of day hiking around there into some logging roads I had never explored and stuff. So yeah, just getting to check out areas, because there's so many areas around there to go to. And so we did that, got some exercise in and everything. But there was a one particular night we had stayed up late, and it was Jonathan Easley, Western Bigfoot Explorations, great YouTube channel. We stayed up the latest, and we're like, all right, it's 4 a.m, we're gonna head to our tents. And I'm like complete opposite side from him, and I'm far away from everyone. I put myself in like the corner.
Bigfoot bait.
And yeah, and purposely to see if anything would happen. And so I get into my tent, and I start noticing this weird light starting to shine, and it seemed like and it was like from behind my tent, and it was lighting up the front of my tent. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, bro, like if you're creeping up on my tent like that with a flashlight on, like, what's up with you? Like,
Right.
who is that? Yeah, no one's ever done that. And not say anything, you're just gonna come up to someone's tent with a flashlight beaming or whatever. And then of course I was like, well, is someone with a headlamp? And it just did not, none of those things checked. And so I'm listening, and I could hear there was someone, a tent not too far from me, and I could hear their air mattress move every so often. So I could, distinguish that sound. But there was these other sounds, and it sounded like someone walking outside. And then
Wow.
there's also like little small twigs starting to break, like little sounds of something. And the light would get bright and then dim, turn off, turn back on. And it just did, it had a weird look to it, and there was just a weird vibe. And I'm just sitting in my tent. Luckily I had made a little bit of space on my phone to record. I didn't want to move too much. I didn't want to make too much noise. I didn't even want to get out. I did think about it, but I was like, nope. And I'm like, all right, if something snatches my tent and starts walking away with it, I'm gonna yell, scream, I'm gonna hit the panic button on my truck, and y'all better come get me. But yeah, so I'm like, all right, let me sit in here and try to record this. And so yeah, I started being able to get a few clips of recording, and I didn't want to even show my phone too much too, because of the light of the phone. I didn't want any of that. I wanted them to think, whoever it was, that I was asleep in the tent. And so I was able to get some recordings of that. And then along with that, I started getting this real bad sewage smell.
Oh.
Weirdest thing. Yeah. I want to say maybe before I've maybe experienced the smell once or twice. If I think about it, there's maybe been a couple times. And actually last year too, in the Redwoods, there was a point where it smelled funky, but I don't know, maybe it could have been, I don't know if there's skunk cabbage in that area or what, but
Sure it wasn't the chili you had for supper?
and no, yeah, it wasn't the chili, and it wasn't harvest time in Humboldt. Happy harvest, everyone out there.
Was it a musky smell, or what kind of smell was it?
I described it that time in the Redwoods as dirty socks. It smelled like
Ew.
socks or something like. But anyway, but this one was particular sewage. It reminded me of city sewer.
Oh,
and I'm on Olympic Boulevard, so I know what that's. And it kept getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and I'm like, bro, that's how I felt. I was like, all right, already, you could tone down the funk. I know you're here, but yeah, I didn't know who or what, but I was like, oh my God, it's happening, like lights and the smell, and I was like, it's happening, something's happening here. And could I prove it was Bigfoot? No, but it's interesting because a lot of people report this type of stuff,
right.
And the smell also happened to me a few nights later. Happened again when I got in my tent again. It was time to go to sleep, and I took a little video of that. Which, I mean, we don't have smell-o-vision, but not yet. But I did a little recording of that. But that time it wasn't the sewer smell, and it was coming on stronger and stronger, like I described on the first one. But this one it was a different funk. It wasn't sewer funk, but it was bad, and it was just like, bro, all right, this is pretty cool.
Hit the river.
Yeah, this is pretty cool, but you're burning my nostril hairs here.
Yeah, because a lot of people talk about this, like you said, that dirty gym sock smell, or maybe like people in chat are talking about a sulfur smell. I know Patrick Noble talked about the sulfur smell.
Yeah, it wasn't
urine smell.
It wasn't. Maybe there was sulfur mixed in it, but I know sulfur, and so yeah, no, it wasn't. I wasn't like, this is sulfuric, because I've heard about that around UFO landings or alien sightings and different paranormal activity and phenomenon, that there's a sulfuric smell, the presence of the devil. Yes. Smelling like burnt matchsticks.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, so that was pretty intense. The whole light thing, the smell, and then getting the smell the second time, and then yeah, we did a whole lot of driving around, and I was just like, darn, just give me some, could I get something else, some more action? And at one point, actually, a few of the guys had driven up to a particular spot, Onion Lake, and which isn't far, and they believe that possibly they weren't 100% sure, but I mean, you would know. They drove by this area, and then on their way back, they noticed a big old rock in the road.
Oh,
Yeah, and they didn't, they don't think it was there on the way up. So like something placed this big heavy rock. Like,
Wow.
yeah. And so I thought that was pretty interesting, and nothing confirmed there, but and then so let's see, fast forward, found several interesting structures. Yeah, so I was like, oh man, could we get something, like, because up in Bluff Creek you usually don't find, like, it's not like, oh, there's TPs everywhere and X's and this, and no, it's not like that. But we did some digging around, did a lot of driving around with Todd, samples, and then with Ian, who's actually part of the Bluff Creek. Actually, I think he started the Bluff Creek project. But yeah, I got to spend several days with both of those guys after everyone had left. And at one point, there was like maybe like 15 to 20 people at the camp. So it was a pretty big crowd, and some of the people were camped out in different areas, and some of those people in those different areas were and have been reporting certain activity, and I won't get into their stories, but it's coming from them. Is it is it really happening? We're not sure. A lot of us wonder, but at the same time, there is another buddy of ours, Damon Irons, who is usually our drone pilot guy, and he has a thermal drone. You'll see some of the clips in my videos. He has been capturing very interesting audio from that other campsite that I'm talking about last year and even this year, like wood knocks, vocalizations, and it's not like massive vocals yelling, but very odd primate sounding sounds.
Oh.
Yeah, along with the wood knocks, and it's like, whoa, dude, like this is weird, and so
like
there's
small chattering.
Yep. It was like let's see if I could do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
How was that?
Right?
Oh, good. Can you do that again?
Let's see. But yeah, no, it's something along that I try it, but it was weird. It's like this weird, like, and then it was like either a wood knocks right before that or right after. And that was last year when I first got there too. It was the night that I got there, and in the morning he captured that. But yeah, so there's things happening still in the Bluff Creek area for sure. There was Flash of Beauty channel, another super cool Bigfoot channel.
Yeah.
They had Toby Johnson and his girlfriend, or his queen, came out to Bluff Creek, and they must have gotten there, I think maybe like a few weeks after we left, or I think it was like soon after we had done our trip up there. They had gone up in there and did some video, and they got a bunch of weird paranormal stuff happening, which I think kind of coincides with some of the stuff I was experiencing this time around. And so you could check out their version of stuff. And they mentioned these, I think it was some weird sounds, and then they got some weird stuff on their little thermal. What was it? They were having the sleep paralysis. They got the sleep paralysis. There was a lot of like, pretty weird stuff. And I'm like, oh, interesting. They got sleep paralysis. So did Tate. And then there was one night where I also almost fell into the sleep paralysis. It was daytime. I was feeling tired for who knows what reason. I usually don't nap during the day, but I felt like it, and I was like, let me just go lay in the tent. And I laid in the tent. I left my feet hanging outside the tent. I didn't even zip the tent. I laid down here for a little bit, and then I felt the sun beaming in the tent and started getting hot and all that. And then I started feeling the first bits of sleep paralysis. Like I was starting to get like
Oh,
sunken into the ground almost, it felt like. And I pulled myself out of it. Like, yeah, we didn't get into that. I was like, no, I
wow.
feel it. Let me get out of this. And so that was a little odd. And let's see, another highlight was, let's see, oh, there was an encounter shared with me, and actually I had heard about it, and it was near Laos Camp. Actually, there was and I went back into that area. So behind Laos Camp was this whole area I had never really explored before. For some reason, I would always just hang out at the camp and thought maybe the trail ended there. All these years, I never went back there. So this time I went back there and seen that it's amazing back there. There's berries and the creek keeps going, and I started noticing what these trident trees. So we noticed a lot of us notice these trees that are like forked. Sometimes they have the three prong, it looks like, or just the two, or they're used in structures a lot, the forks and the prongs and stuff. We call them tridents, and notice a couple of tridents back there. Are the Bigfoots making them? I don't know, but it's funny that these types of trees keep popping up. And we started finding a whole bunch of them in the Bluff Creek area. You could tell it's like someone going around topping the tops of the trees so that maybe they'll grow into these like tridents. And it's been pointed out by several other investigators, researchers. And it's not really a popular thing, but I've noticed certain people point that out, and I've noticed it myself. And back in there, these native kids were way down the creek away from camp, and they said that they had seen a Bigfoot, because from the trail, it's a big old like this drop off to get down to the creek, so you can't get down there. If you fall from there, you're probably not going to be alive. But the Bigfoot was up on this it's an old Bluff Creek Road, I guess, that's been just like eaten up by the forest. But it was up on this like top part of the road there, trail, and it was throwing rocks down at the kids.
Oh,
yeah. And so the kids got spooked, ran back to camp, and the first person they ran into was a person I got to meet, which is friends of Todd Samples, a local from Humboldt County. And the kids told him what happened. And then I guess after went and told the parents and all that. And so, yeah, I got to check that area out there, and it's, super interesting to get. And that was fresh. That was from like, I think last year or the year before. And so again, some locals and having some Bigfoot activity there. We hear about them throwing rocks and stuff like that. So yeah, other than that, I think that the highlight was the lights. Luckily I didn't get 411. I didn't go missing 411 there. Yeah, that does come across the mind, but we did find several other structures, which I do enjoy finding. And then, yeah, I'll be releasing that in like a part 2 of the video. I split the trip up. I didn't think I had enough data to record stuff. And luckily, it looks like, yeah, I have enough to share and show what the journey was. And I'm slowly working on that.
Awesome.
So is it mostly Bigfoot, or are you hearing reports of pale crawlers, cryptids, dog man?
Yeah, online, I'm hearing it all.
Okay, all right.
Up that way, no, but not the pale crawlers yet. But in the Bluff Creek area, it is the talks of little people does come up.
Oh, okay, little people.
And it should, yeah, and taken very seriously.
Little dwarfs.
Yep. Yeah, and I heard one person mention, and they were talking about a particular zone up there where the little people are known to be. And, they say that you should, maybe bring an offering or something, some sort of offering, because, yeah, they could get upset or play tricks on you and stuff like that, or make you go nuts. And I thought that was intense. Yeah, they make you go crazy. Oof.
Wow.
Mm-mm.
Sounds like that was a good trip.
Yeah, right. But yeah, no. So other than that, it was a great trip. Got to spend a little more than 2 weeks up there. There's weird stuff happening up there, I will say. So that's coming from me. Maybe others had a different experience that were up there, but yeah, no, definitely some high strangeness happening up there, and it's good to hear. So I'm excited to hopefully get back up there soon. There's already talks of possibly some people going up in October, and
Oh,
yeah, I wish I could. We'll see. It's hard for me to say no, but it's just, yeah, I know my truck needs some maintenance. And of course, gas money and all those things come up.
will you guys get snow up there in Humboldt,
Yeah,
where like
yeah.
Patty and all that is?
Well,
Missouri?
yes, yeah. Up in that area on the coast, we don't, but inland they get snow up that way, and so yeah, you get cold weather, and then inland it also gets very hot during the summer. It'll hit up in the hundreds. So
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Also, let's see, what did I want to say before I head out here? So what are we at? An hour and a half, girl? How we
Yeah,
doing?
we're there in an hour and a half. We can go longer if you'd
Yeah,
like, but
yeah,
if
no,
you
if you
want
have
to
any,
start winding it down, that's fine too.
yeah, no, if you have any questions, please let me know. But yeah, other than that, there was a lot of quiet moments too, just birds chirping and sound of the creek and not much going on, it seems like. But which is good too. It's a good moment to get grounded and touch base with nature and all that stuff. Had 5 bear sightings, so a lot of bear up there.
Oh
And that's
my.
the thing. Yeah, that's the thing. Even if the fish aren't flowing through Bluff Creek, they could go have themselves a bear, and I think it'll be all right.
Yeah, yeah. There's lots of wildlife. I mean, everywhere you go, there's all kinds of wildlife that could be on the buffet, but
The buffet.
Yeah.
I think the only question or comment was from Unreal about the Lost River and the Lost area. He was
Yeah.
talking about
So
the tunnels of the lava tubes.
Oh, okay. Well, there's theories, and I don't know if it's true. I've heard supposedly that there's these underground caverns that connect, because in Mount Shasta area there's a bunch of, like, I guess, caverns and stuff like that under there.
Mhm.
And I heard recently some that connect to the town of Redding, which is south of Mount Shasta. So that
Mm.
whole area there. But I've heard of people talk about these caverns that supposedly go from Mount Shasta all the way to the coast, and that
right.
would be towards Trinity
Oh
County, Willow
wow.
Creek, on into the coast there, Humboldt County. So uh is that possible? I don't see why not.
Right. I've heard about tunnels from Denver going to the Mount Shasta area too.
Oh
Yeah.
wow, yeah. Well, yeah, no, there's
Yeah.
yeah, I've heard of that years back. The
Mhm.
hyper, well, there's like these hyper speed train or some sort that rolls on like magnets or something that takes
Yes.
you all across the country. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a Mount Shasta stop on that one.
Yeah.
Robot grandma.
You got the lizard tunnels.
Lizard tunnels. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so many different things going on underground that we're hearing about right now. Also, so there was, speaking of underground, there was one particular night Tate and I decided to camp at what we call the berm, because there's this little berm on the road there, but it's the trail down to get to the Patterson Gimlin film site. And so this trail is pretty tight, old logging road there too. There's an old fire pit there, and a little spot for your vehicles to kind of park and turn around. It's a little tight, but it's possible. And so that trail takes you down to the film site. So we decided to do a overnight there, him and I. And so he tried some wood knocks and some calls and stuff, and nothing really responded. But what we did notice that night was the hum, the Humboldt hum.
Oh
We
yeah.
call it the Humboldt hum, but yeah, this weird low, I guess you could say low frequency hum, kind of like this. And I've heard it before, and it's been reported in local news outlets in Humboldt County, and so that's when they named it the Humboldt Hum. But
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
we were hearing that up there, and so that was a little weird. And yeah, it totally sounds like maybe something's going on inside of the mountains or something like.
Hmm.
And there is no like factories or machinery that I know of that may be going on up that way that would cause a sound like that. And yeah, it's been heard in other places too. So really weird. We got the hum, got the Humboldt Hum that night, and yeah, very weird. But that night I stayed up really late, and I just felt like something was gonna like show up. And
Oh,
nothing happened. And
wow.
nothing happened at the berm that night. But yeah, no, it was very interesting. At one point also we did hear what sounded like a big boulder maybe that fell or got dropped or something.
Oh,
And we were
wow.
back at Laos camp. It was during the day. We had just gotten back from, so during this trip there's also the Bigfoot Days festival. So it's a
DAZE, Bigfoot Days.
Days festival in Willow
Okay.
Creek, and it's a little town celebration. People come out, and they have the vendors and the whole nine. They had music and some vibes there. Super cool and fun to attend. And usually the museum's open, and so you could go check in at the museum, check out the museum, go to the festivities, hang out. It's always usually hot as heck, but after getting back from Bigfoot Days is when we went back up the hill. We were hanging out, just a few of us. A lot of people had left, and boom, we just heard that big old
Thump.
like rumble, and yeah, it felt like something hit the ground, and the ground even shook.
Oh,
And,
wow.
and so, but yeah, we got to keep in mind that there is big plates up there, and so we do get earthquakes. Humboldt
Right.
had that
Mhm.
7 point something. What was it? Late last year, or earlier this year. So earthquakes are a thing up there. So that could have been that. But what was weird, right when that big thump happened, that happened in a certain direction from us, and it seemed a bit far away. But behind us, back at the creek again, the creek always has weird sounds going on. Tate and I started hearing a metal tapping coming
Oh.
from behind the creek there. And
Oh,
and Tate describes it as someone maybe with like a tin can tapping on a
Mhm.
rock.
really?
And yeah, I could say
Huh.
it was along those lines. It was something like that. But I noticed the tapping too, and it was coming from behind us. And we're just like, what the heck? It's kind of odd, a little bit weird. And but yeah, again, we went to a lot of areas that we've been to before, but I got to see a bunch of areas I've never been to before, and you'll be able to see that in the upcoming video. Hopefully I'll get that done soon here. It's almost there. Some final little edits, and I'm learning how to edit and doing the voiceover stuff on the videos, and just giving it a better effort to try and convey what I experience, what I'm feeling, what's happening, and yeah. I'm a little excited for
That'll be awesome when you get that out.
it. Yeah. Hopefully, it uploads at better quality than the last one. That was a learning curve there, but yeah, I'm excited to get back up there as soon as possible, and hopefully sooner than later, and hopefully we get more action. But again, I'm still going through some of my videos, trying to point out and find more anomalies, and so yeah, be patient with me as well. But
Absolutely.
yeah, thank you
Yeah.
again.
If anybody goes back up there, even if you don't go back up there or other people report back to you, let us know, or maybe they can come on the show with you or whatever. And we'll be glad to have you guys back to talk
Mhm.
about more
Definitely.
expeditions into the redwoods.
Yeah, thank you. And there was a little timestamp. So that person that told me where the people lived, and there was activity happening and sightings, I took a picture of that road, and I had zoomed in on it, and there was a stump squatch. Looked pretty squatchy, this stump. And I think I might have sent it to you. I
So-
sent it to a few people, and they were like, "Oh, that's interesting. It looked kind of weird, but it did look like a Bigfoot."
Hmm.
And luckily, I did send it also to Todd Samples, and he's he's been very consistent about going up there, and that's why I really like not only hanging out with him but supporting what he does, because he gets in there a whole lot. And he was able to confirm, he stopped at that area where I took the picture, and he was able to confirm that it was a stump. So
Okay.
mystery solved there. And it happens,
right.
Mad Pax wants to know if you've come across any caves or experienced exploring inside caves.
I haven't done any like spelunking or anything like that, but I am interested in caves. I was just watching something on Carlsbad caves right now.
Yeah.
But so if you check out the documentary called The Lost Bigfoot Highway on Small Town Monsters that we mentioned earlier, Alex Pedikov, and on this one, Dwarf just gets a little feature. That's when we did the overnight into the special area. But in that video, Alex interviews a local who also lives in that area. Like I said, there's not too many people live in that area. And I'm wondering also who the person that told me the information, if they live on this guy's property. That's how I kind of put it together. So he got interviewed, and he talks about, and he's been there for like, I think over 30 years. So he's been there a long time. He actually worked on like logging some of the road, logging some of the area, and building some of the roads there. He talks about it in the interview. And on the interview, he talks about these caves that are on the other side of, I think he said it was Lonesome Ridge. And we did a lot of Lonesome Ridge driving. And I got video from there. Found some interesting structures up that way. That there's these caves over there that he said that not even hunting dogs will get close because of the smell of these caves.
Ooh,
That was
wow.
a little hint there, for something for us to check out. Like the guys, I haven't even like talked to this about the guys, but it's like, come on, guys, maybe we might want to go check these caves out that this local mentioned.
Wow.
So yeah. So yeah, we got to do some exploring. Gerald, I can't wait till you guys get out here. We can
Yeah.
I know. We're gonna have to make the trip one of these days.
We could do Bluff Creek. You guys could get up in there, no problem. I mean, we just need 4x4, but you guys, it's doable. So it's not nothing. We got to like hike 10 miles and do. No, you could get there on your vehicle and even hike down to the Patterson site. It's a little bit of a hike back up, but
I want to go to the gift shop, Sasquatch gift.
Oh yeah, no,
I'd
that's a
be in
gift.
there for hours.
Bigfoot burger.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, go get a Bigfoot burger.
Come check out the site, see where Patty walked, and then we go get burgers and beer or whatever.
Burgers and beer.
BBB.
And whatever.
Yeah, BBB. Bring.
Well, I think this is a good point to stop right for the moment.
Yeah,
like I said, we'll have you back, and especially once you get your video going, or if somebody else or you go back up there, and there's always stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I'll get you Todd, and I definitely want to get all these guys eventually onto my channel too. We got to get that going. But no, I have no problem getting you folks who would like to, who I feel like would like to talk. And so yeah, Todd Samples, I think he'd be another great. I mean, yeah, I got a list of guys for sure.
We can do a panel show. That'd be great.
That too, yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever works. But I appreciate you. I appreciate you not only your friendship.
Oh yeah.
But your support, and I still got to do some shopping with y'all. I have not busted out the glasses yet, Garrow. I have.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no. I appreciate the love from you two, and I love you two back, and much love to everyone out there. And thank you for having me on, man. Anytime, y'all know, just hit me up.
I think we've known you for about 3 years now. Or maybe longer, don't know.
Yeah,
we've been in the community for quite a while.
Time is flying.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on, but don't go anywhere quite yet. We'll just say goodbye to everybody in chat. thank you all for coming and showing up. We had a good crowd in here tonight. The numbers were bouncing up and down and hitting some high numbers. So thank you all. And
hey, we're both doing it.
oh yeah, see, I don't get that.
Get some lasers,
And 2
Chief.
thumbs.
Let's get some lasers.
Come on, I'm trying to do the 2 thumbs. Come on. There we go.
There we go. We got sparks there. Oh yeah.
All right, and the lasers. Yeah, right. The lasers. Woo.
Rock on.
So I have your YouTube and stuff in the description. So everybody in there, please go over and share out Dwarf's channel and hang out with him, because you never know when he's going to pop on. Sometimes it's late at night, sometimes it's early during the day, and especially if you see something in the sky. You love showing what you see in the sky during the day. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, seen a little something earlier, very similar to the stuff we were seeing before. So maybe I'll show that in a little short or something. But yeah, it's been quiet in the skies here lately. All that stuff pretty much like stopped. It seems like it's like, what the heck? But anyway, yeah. There was something else. I know after we get off. Oh yeah, I was gonna say, folks, if you haven't checked it out, please check out the first episode. Bigfoot. What is it? High Strangeness at Bluff Creek, I think it is. Episode 1. Is it Sasquatch? I can't even remember the titles, but yeah, no, go give it a thumbs up if you like it and share it out and all that. Yeah, thank you all.
I'm getting some requests in chat, so here we go, guys.
Oh yeah.
I normally don't do that on a Sunday, but we'll do it to one. All right, there's your screaming goat.
All right. That's a good note to end right there. So, well, thank you all for coming. We love you. Make sure you go out and show Bigfoot Dwarf some love. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to us and share us out. Share Bigfoot Dwarfs out. And the more people we get on here and talking about these subjects, the better time we'll have and the more information we'll get out to everybody.
And thank you, mods. And thank you, everybody, for showing up.
Much love. We love you guys. We'll see y'all next time.
Bye.